Your mind right. Got people to help. Got to help people. Got to get their minds right. You're ready for this. You were built for this. I got this. All right, Sarah, bring in the first one. Lisa.
Lisa's here.
Lisa, welcome back.
Hello.
How are things going with you?
Not great. I started taking piano lessons, but after a week, I wasn't any good, so I had to quit. And then I started running, but after a few days, I was so tired. So I gave that up too. I just feel like I'm not meant to succeed at anything.
You know, Lisa, it sounds like you're expecting instant success, and most skills take time to develop. Do you feel like something else may be holding you back?
It's not just that. It just feels like everything in life is stacked against me. Every time I try something new, something happens. Something happens at work, something happens with my car. I just can't seem to get anything right.
I hear you. Sounds like you think life's pretty unfair. I understand those frustrations. We all have those frustrations and those feelings. They can be overwhelming. But what if persistence is a real skill that you need to develop? That if external circumstances is what's holding you back, maybe if you could just create more of that persistence to overcome the external and make it more of an internal thing. What do you think of that?
I don't know. What if I put in all this effort and then it still doesn't work out? Like, what if I really commit, but then something happens, and everything just comes against me? What if life gets busy at work, or I can't get somewhere when I need to, or what if my family really needs me, and then I just fail again?
I hear you. Unexpected challenges come up all the time. But if you don't change something, you're guaranteeing that nothing's going to change. The key is to find ways to push forward, to overcome those obstacles. Some of the most successful people out there, think of people you admire, athletes, musicians, people like successful in business. Think of the things that maybe they've had to overcome that may help you keep pushing forward.
I guess. It just still feels like life is working against me.
I know. Why don't we do this, Lisa? How about we pick a small goal? One thing that we can commit to for a month. No matter how hard it gets, we're going to just keep pushing through it, and we're going to stay focused on that one small goal for a month. Let's see how we can adapt to that and see if we can keep going.
But what if I fail again?
You probably will. But quitting isn't an option. How's quitting working out for you so far? You just seem to keep going through all these same cycles over and over again. Why don't we see if maybe we can work on some strategies that'll help you overcome those, and maybe you'll start seeing some career advancements. You'll start enjoying your hobbies more. Maybe even your relationships in your life that require patience and effort might start to grow.
I guess I do feel stuck. Like I'm always watching everybody else have all this success, and I just stay in the same place.
Exactly. And that feeling won't change unless you start doing something different. So let's start with this one commitment and see what we can do.
Okay, I'll try.
That's great. Well, Lisa, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for coming in, and we'll see how you're progressing next time.
Thanks, Doc.
Next!
Here's Jake.
Hey, Jake, how's everything going?
Okay. Amazing as usual, Doc. I've got everything figured out.
That's quite the confidence. Last time we talked about getting some leadership feedback. How's that?
Whoa, feedback, Doc. I don't need any feedback. I'm a natural leader. If people don't listen, that is their problem.
But Jake, leadership comes with growth. Are you learning new skills to get better, to get better at working with people and to get better results?
Hey, I don't need any lessons. I don't need any books, tapes, audios. I don't need to go to conference. I was born with it.
Confidence is great. Results matter. If your approach isn't quite working out, maybe it's time to consider something new.
What? Fixing? Changing? I don't need to be fixed. That's for other people.
Okay. So tell me, what are you working on now, Jake?
Oh, let me tell you, Doc. I got some great things going. I'm starting a tech startup. I don't have any funding yet, but those VCs, they don't get my vision. And, oh, hey, I decided I'm going to publish a book. I've never wrote anything. I don't have a publisher, but I know it's going to be huge. And the thing I'm the most excited about is, podcasts. Everybody's doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
And I don't have a script. I don't have any equipment bought, but the name alone is the hook. It's going to be out there on the interwebs, and everybody's going to know it. It's called Jake's Genius Method. Isn't that great? Doesn't that sound like the hook that I need?
It sounds genius. Those are some big projects. Have you created any kind of structured plans, outlines for any of that?
Structure? Who needs structure, man? That just slows me down. I just fly by the seat of my pants and let the world catch up to me.
Yeah, how's that working out for you so far?
It's coming.
Maybe the lack of results is affecting your opportunities. Maybe your missed deadlines, the lack of investors, the lack of interest, all of that is because of the approach that you're taking. Perhaps maybe learning from experience from other people could save you some time, energy, money. Imagine your personal life getting better. I'm sure all this stress and no progress is impacting your finances, and I'm sure the financial strain is impacting your relationships.
Yeah, things have been a little chilly at home lately, but the wife, she thinks I should get a stable job with a regular income, but she just doesn't see the bigger picture. She doesn't understand what I'm trying to do here. And hey, you know what, Doc? You know what it says in the Bible? I am the head of the household.
Have you used that with her?
Yeah. Hey, Doc, you know how it is.
I do. Maybe she's got a point. Maybe there's some things worth considering, getting a little balance between practical steps with your ambition, get some stability going on. That's a lot to reflect on, Jake. Tell you what, let's pick this up next time and see if we can take some time to make some real progress for you.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
All right, Jake, we'll see you next time. Ooh. Next!
Here's Miles.
Hey, Doc.
Miles, it's good to see you. Good to see you.
You too.
So, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. To be honest, I don't think we really need any more of these sessions. I don't know why that crazy doctor made me come here in the first place. To be honest, I think I'm the most emotionally stable person I know. Life's great. It's fantastic. I'm thinking I might take a trip to Paris. Work's going good. Had a breakthrough at work. Looks like that there actually might be in line for a promotion.
That sounds awesome. Tell me about your successes.
Okay, so we had this problem at work. Social media, tech stuff. I mean, you probably don't know anything about that, but I'll skip all the nerdy stuff. Basically, we developed something that's going to reach more engagement and give us more leads and more targeting audience. And like I said, I'm in line for a promotion. And do you know what I just realized, Doc? Is that I'm finally going to make more money than my brother. I'm going to be the number one son, right? I'm going to make over $200,000 a year. $200,000 a year.
Miles.
Life is crazy.
Miles, let's take
I am the world.
Miles,
Nothing can stop me.
Let's take a breath, Miles.
Sorry, Doc, you had to see that. What? Are you kidding me?
Miles, is everything okay? What happened?
It's the school. My son got into a fight again, and now they're blaming it on me. They want me to come pick him up, get him. I just don't know where he gets this. I don't understand how he could just lose control, and it's his third fight in 1 month.
That's a tough situation.
Yeah, he gets it from his mother.
How is this?
It's that Russian rage.
You know, I've heard stories about that. So talk to me, Miles. Let's define your feelings. How are you feeling right now?
Doc, I don't know. I just feel like a failure. I mean, what kind of father am I?
It's understandable to feel that shift. It's important not to let one bad piece of news ruin your whole day and change your whole mood.
I mean, 5 minutes ago I was on top of the world. I was the world. Now I just feel like I can't do anything right.
Maybe we can come up with some strategies, Miles, that'll help maybe balance yourself a little bit, where you're not necessarily running through the streets naked or jumping off a bridge. Let's see if we can work on some of that. So maybe some grounding techniques. When you're feeling that spike up or down coming on, why don't we just slow down, take a few deep breaths? Is that something you think you could work on?
I mean, I think we could try it.
How about, have you ever kept a journal?
I have not.
Writing down your successes to remind yourself that life is not as bad as it feels right now could be something that can help you. And then just have these daily routines that'll anchor you emotionally so you don't have these mood swings one way or the other.
You think that would help?
I don't think it'll hurt.
You think someone like me needs that?
Tell you what, why don't we give it a chance and we'll look at it and we'll talk about it, some of these strategies at our next session and see how they're taking hold with you. Does that sound good, Miles?
Sounds good, Doc. Thank you.
All right, good luck with your son.
You.
I appreciate you coming in. Woo! There's got to be a good one in here somewhere. Next!
Hello, Doctor. Here's Pearl.
Hey, Pearl.
Hello, Doc.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in. Please, have a seat.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So how are things going with you?
Pretty steady. Work has its challenges, but I stay focused and practice good habits.
It's a great attitude to have. Any difficulties lately that you've been dealing with?
Of course, there's always going to be difficulties. You know, life has its challenges, but I push through practicing good habits and staying with my routine and doing things necessary to move forward.
Unbelievable mindset. What do you think helps you the most?
Probably I read a lot. I get to work on time. I work with people. And I understand that emotions is temporary. You know, they're not going to last forever. You know, I can't get stuck in one feeling. I just act my way into better living instead of thinking my way into it.
That's an excellent approach to life, Pearl.
Yes.
I'm very proud of you. You know, so many people, they struggle with those emotional extremes, self-doubt, overconfidence, but you found the balance. Have you ever thought about maybe mentoring other people? I'm sure there's a lot of people that could use help handling their emotions like that.
Well, on my job or my career, I help a lot of people. If people come to me for advice, I help them sometimes. But sometimes it's overwhelming because I have this lady at work. They're always asking for my help. And sometimes it's overwhelming because I have my own difficulties that I have to constantly push through. But I keep trying, and I want to be an example, so I do all the things that's necessary.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Helping others find balance is a great way to help yourself as well. So, well, keep doing what you're doing, Pearl. I don't even know if we need to keep meeting like this. I'm glad you're doing so well, and I'm glad you got that emotional stability going on.
So you think the next time we can do Zoom?
Next time we can do Zoom? I always like face-to-face. I always think it's better if we can see face-to-face.
Okay.
But we can do Zoom if we need to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Pearl.
Yes, sir.
You have a blessed day.
Wow, Doc.
What a day.
You have seen it all.
We have seen it all. So let's review. Let's start with the disclaimer. These were fictionalized characters. Any resemblance to anybody you know is purely coincidental. But as my good friend Andy Albright likes to say, if the shoe fits, Cinderella. So let's kind of go through our characters. We started with Lisa.
Yep.
Lisa, have you ever had an agent that everything's always wrong? And you know, we have these 8 steps to success. Step number 8 is communicate with a positive attitude. Do we see Lisa looking for anything on the bright side of life? Okay. So here's the key to positive attitude. And I think a lot of people get this messed up because they think that we just have this Pollyanna view of, you know, everything's fine and nothing's ever going to go wrong in our business. And that's not it. When you communicate with a positive attitude, you acknowledge that there are issues. We just don't focus on the problem. We start looking for solutions. You know, so many people, they just want to keep repeating and repeating and repeating what the problem is. And it's just like, all right, I got it. Can we move on to the solution phase and see what we can do to make it better? The other big problem with Lisa is just a lack of persistence. Beth, you want to talk a little bit about that piece of it?
Yeah. So every time you start something and then stop, it really is like taking 5 steps backwards. The only way Lisa is ever going to break out of that cycle of going over and over and over again is to do something in a steady basis. It doesn't have to be a grand leap. She doesn't have to go from writing nothing to writing 50,000 a month, although some of our team can do that, just so you know. But it is that steady activity. So can you pick up your phone during your dial session and make your 50 dials an hour? Can you commit to a schedule on a day in, day out basis? That's how Lisa is going to break out of it. Unfortunately, with Elisa, we're going to have this conversation more than once.
It's one of those things, you know, everybody when they get started, and if this is your first time coming to a conference and you haven't even got your first batch of leads yet and you haven't made any phone calls yet, and it's just like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be any good at this. Let me be crystal clear. You probably won't. Okay? Anything worth doing is worth being bad at to start with. So don't get frustrated. Get your mind right that you're just going to be teachable, you're going to be coachable, and you're willing to do the work and you're willing to go through the hard to get to the good stuff. Because if you'll keep putting the work in, that skill set will develop. The beauty of what we do is it's a skill you can train yourself on, and the more you practice it, the better you're going to get. So don't worry about not being awesome day one. Focus on where you're going to be 90 days from now. One of my favorite quotes out of the books that we read, it's out of the book The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. And it talks about, Randy Pausch was a college professor, and he had some kind of cancer, and he was gone. He knew he was going to die, and so he wrote this last lecture for his class and for his kids, his lessons of life. And my favorite line from that book is this: the brick walls are not there to keep you out. The brick walls are there to see how bad you want to get in. And so you need to develop that persistence, that stickability, that willingness to overcome obstacles to get what you want to get. Nobody said it was easy, we just said it was worth it. And that's what I was looking for. All right, so let's move on to our second patient that we had today, Jake. Jake was...
Name wrong.
Jake was a little cocky, little arrogant. I don't know that any of you have ever dealt with an agent that you've hired that is just completely uncoachable, thinks they know all the answers, and just doesn't want to take any kind of feedback. Beth, what are some things we can do to help Jake overcome himself to be more successful?
So a Jake always wants to feel heard. They want to feel valued. So we can do that. We can acknowledge them. We can comment on what he's done well, and then just continue to point the way in a gentle fashion, because they're not going to take all out, you're wrong. Like the headbutting between manager and agent of I'm right, you're wrong, that's not going to get anywhere with Jake. It is learning as a manager your people skills to come in and not get so caught up in his ego that you forget the message that you need to be teaching them.
You know, it goes back to a lot of the trainings that Jeff Wright has done with us, where he talks about the different personalities. And you got to learn how to communicate with each personality. And getting into a shouting match with Jake is not going to get him to open up his ears and to listen. You just got to, your job is to build a relationship with him and keep him engaged long enough that one day he'll wake up and decide, you know what, my way isn't working. Let me try it your way. But here's the key. You don't stop the rest of your business waiting on Jake. You're not going to fix Jake overnight, and you probably can't fix Jake at all. You just hope you keep him around long enough that he has that aha moment, or as Terry Edwards said, the oh hell no moment, where he sees everybody else moving forward and having success, and then finally one day and he internalizes it and realizes it's a him problem. By the way, these are the guys that go from company to company to company, thinking that it's going to be better somewhere else, that the problem is the outside. And the problem that people like that have is their biggest issue follows them to the next deal, whether it's solar, whether it's door to whatever the next deal is. Their problem is them. And that problem is going to follow them. You can't worry about that. That's why we hire a lot of people, so we don't get bogged down with one person. All right, next we had Miles. Woo. Look, I'm not going to say that. Working as a 1099, working on commission, there tends to be a lot of emotional swings for all of us. You have a great week of commission. You had $22,000 deposit in your account. You had a big annuity that you wrote. It just got issued. Or maybe you had a big annuity that you wrote, and then 3 days later, it got canceled. The emotional swings are there. Our job as leaders is not to eliminate, we can't eliminate emotion from people. In fact, for a lot of people, it's the emotion that keeps them going. Okay? But what we're trying to do is this. The highs are too high and the lows are too low. You know, 1 minute you're running through the streets naked, the next minute you're jumping off a bridge. Our job, the best we can do is try and narrow that gap for the agents and try and help them narrow the gap between the highs and the lows so that they're a little more stable, a lot more stable going through life. Because we have so many people, they just need somebody to coach them and calm them down and get them to get past that little bit of negative and keep them reined in from that big positive that they lose their mind. Beth, any comments on that?
Well, and you know, we use the example of a big commission and a big chargeback. It can be anything. You know, it could be a good haircut and then your shoes untied. It can be extremes that they take extreme. And so you have to definitely be centered.
And then we had Pearl, good old Pearl. Somebody who could have some self-analysis, somebody who understands it's a process, somebody who takes the good and the bad, you know, like just a duck in the water, you know, just cruising along, paddling like crazy underneath, but doesn't panic and just understands the process. And guys, we're going to have all of these people in our agencies if you're going to build a business. The key is this: learn how to work with them, learn how to coach them, also learn how to not allow their issues to impact you and your thought process. Because the most important person in your business is you, and keeping your mind straight and you having a balanced mind is the most critical thing that you could do. Thank you guys, hope that helped.